thought about it today, you guys, and I didn't want to give you like a bunch of slides and info. I just wanted to really have a chat with you about 420 friendly vacations, what we do, and kind of get your questions answered. Like, I'm here for you guys tonight. It's not often you get to talk to a cannabis travel agent. So I'm here to answer your questions as well as give you some good tips. So do me a favor, grab a pen and paper, or if you're old school like me, I mean, not old school, but if you're not as old school as me, you can pull up your notes app on your phone. Get ready to take notes because this is going to be good. Hi. Oh, Massachusetts, Oregon. Yes. Like Lisa said before, all across the country and the world now, Tokeativity is doing it, y'all. Okay. Hi, Casey. So looks like you guys are ready to get started. Give me a thumbs up if you are. I won't waste any more of your time. Again, if you missed a quick introduction, my name is Ayanna of Front Row Travels. We are a full service cannabis travel agency here in Baltimore, Maryland, and we cultivate travel experiences for 420 lovers to weed-friendly locations. Um, so if you can, keep in mind your Denver, Amsterdam, things like that, just a quick idea of what I consider cannabis friendly. Um, we created this space for Black women, with Black women in mind. And as Lisa mentioned before, as a way to help break the stigma of cannabis use through travel and education. So what we did was create this space where Black women can ask the questions, get education, kind of break down the walls, because there's a huge stigma in our community. We suffer from the highest rates of anxiety, depression, and stress, and we are the least likely to seek help. So there's a disconnect somewhere. Cannabis has been shown to help reduce those same factors, but there's still a stigma in our community surrounding cannabis use. So I just want to help break that, help get the information out there, and create spaces where we can be ourselves while healing. Um, Before we dig into the 420 destinations, the friendly destinations, I did want to cover a few do's and don'ts. And by that, I mean, we have, as cannabis consumers, because there's such a gray area with cannabis laws currently, even down to federal prohibition, um, you still want to kind of move in as much of the legality as you can, especially being in the BIPOC and queer community. Our our experiences with law enforcement is different. Our interactions, like given the climate, we want to limit our interactions. We don't want to, we just want to enjoy what we came to enjoy. So I have a couple of do's and don'ts, and this is one of the things I wanted you to write down. Well, three of the things I wanted you to write down. Do be mindful of your surroundings, and this is good for everyone in general. Do be mindful of your surroundings. Are you near a playground? Are you near, or in a national park? A lot of places like in Washington, D.C., maybe monuments and maybe, things for the public to enjoy, but they're still considered federal land. So you want to be mindful of, national parks, monuments, things of that nature, and consuming on them because, again, federal prohibition is still a thing, and I don't want you to ruin your experience by breaking the law knowingly or unknowingly. Um, another thing on my do and don't list is don't be a travel jerk. By that, I just mean, be mindful of your surroundings. If you roll the blunt, you have the stuffing and things, throw it away. Don't just throw it on the ground, or, once you're done with your joint, you kind of flick the butt, pick it up, extinguish it, then wet it, make sure it's dry. Just don't be a travel jerk. Try to leave the space in, in a manner of, if not better than you found it. What else? Oh, another don't be afraid to ask questions. Rely on your community, connect with other like-minded travelers or like-minded cannabis users. And our final do take the time to research your destination. And I don't want to really say research. Get to know your destination, because you can Google some articles, but a lot of them are outdated. So you want real time real-time feedback for where you're thinking about going. So I like to encourage even my clients. I would still encourage them to research the destination. One, because there may be some experiences that you may not want me to know about. For instance, a strip club or a nudist beach or something like that. That's your business. That's totally up to you. So a lot of times clients won't share their full itinerary or their full reasons for wanting to travel, but I encourage you to get to know your destination. There's 3 ways you can do this. You can join Facebook or one of these social media platforms. It's a great tool to get real-time feedback. So if there's a beach that you heard, maybe cannabis friendly, or if there is, you know, right now the climate where there's a uptick in crime against the gay community or something like that. These are things you can know in real time instead of Googling and looking for articles from 2017. Another way that you can get to know your destination is you can excuse me, sorry. You're able to kind of connect with like-minded travelers, like events like this. So awesome groups like Tokeativity and Can Inclusive have created spaces and ways for us to vet BIPOC and LGBT community members or brand owners. So Can Inclusive has this awesome system called Inclusive Base. And Inclusive Base has a list of vetted, they're added and then hopefully accountability list, checked with the accountability list that these brands are who they say they are. They support the community. They're doing the work. Tokeativity creates awesome experiences like this this tonight, having one-on-one sessions, or the Bridges series with Miss Kindness and Tiffany. Awesome event there. Again, you can lean into your community and ask the questions. I guarantee you we're all about 1 or 2 degrees away from each other. The cannabis community is small, but the BIPOC and LBGT community is smaller. So please continue to lean into your community and ask the questions. And a third way to get to know your destination is use a travel professional. I know it seems it's just like travel planning is already stressful enough. On top of the COVID vaccinations, the current laws, do I need a visa? Is it cheaper to take an Uber or a taxi? Like, erase all the guesswork, erase all the doubt, and just use a travel professional and really make a connection with somebody who kind of knows both, that knows the cannabis world and that kind of knows the travel world, and are building relationships with a lot of cannabis brands, both small and large. I do pride myself in working directly with a lot of BIPOC and queer-owned brands, cannabis brands. So there's dispensaries, there are farms, there are transportation companies. I really try to cultivate an experience where it touches as much, in the community as it can. So now that you know some very important do's and don'ts and kind of how to do your research, I know you're thinking, well, how the heck do I choose where to go? And I know you've been eyeing a few destinations, and I do have a pretty dope list for you. But I do want to acknowledge very quickly, we have a lot of unpacking to do in the community. Not all BIPOC friendly spaces are queer friendly spaces, and not all queer friendly spaces are BIPOC friendly spaces. So I again want to encourage you to get to know your destination on your comfort level as well. I can suggest and tell you about destinations, all day long, but I might have a bigger, a more open mind or more liberal thought. And I just want you to be comfortable on your well-deserved vacation. So with that being said, I do acknowledge that sometimes we have a lot of unpacking to do in the community. So let's get started. This is also what you came for, some cannabis-friendly tips. I mean, in addition to the tips, destinations and safe spaces. First up is Montevideo, Uruguay. And now you're probably thinking, what? Central America? Yes. I mean, South America. I'm sorry, I'm geographically challenged. Uruguay has a pretty dope cannabis scene. In addition to being one of the most cannabis friendly LGBT friendly destinations in South America. It's right situated with Paraguay. Is in a sweet spot where it has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and it's rich and vibrant. Like nightlife attracts so many cannabis users. Like creatives love Montevideo. So if you have a chance, please put Uruguay on your list. Next up is it was hard. It was hard with this one because there's so many places. Like truly, y'all, I can go on and on about some of the cannabis friendly places that I want to visit or been to, but I can't. So I had to put New York on the list. I love me some NYC, like the pizza, the food, the vibe. Like I'm in Baltimore and I'm from Baltimore. So like having New York like 3 hours away where I can kind of get like a big city feel, but then still come back and have like a country-ish feel, like it's a perfect location. So then you have world renowned like museum collections that taps into like a creative's gets a creative juices flowing. You have shopping, some of the best food, because who doesn't like a nice like burrito at 3 o'clock in the morning and you just finished a bowl and you're like, anytime you can like eat chicken with your eyes closed, you're winning. Like, yes. But I digress. So world-class performances, and it's so rich with history, both for the LGBT community and Black history. Everything from Stonewall to Apollo Theater, there's no shortage. I probably have been to New York over 10 times, and I can say I don't do you don't have to do the same thing twice. I do because some of the stuff is just that good, but you don't have to. Next up, if you love New York, drop me like a thumbs up in the chat, please. Like New York is it? And being an East Coast girl, like it really was a hard choice between like LA and Vegas and things like that. But I'm gonna stick with New York. I'm gonna hold it down. I'm gonna be two other. Third up is Cape Town, South Africa. So having legalized same-sex marriage in 2006, the Rainbow Nation, as it's affectionately called, is one of the most LGBT friendly countries on the continent. Like I don't know too many others that, and it's very hostile in Africa. Like I said, I'm not. We have a lot of unpacking to do. That's all I would say. So South Africa just offers this unique geography when it comes to like being in a cape and a perfect moisture and sun ratio. Like it's Cape Town is just like a city that you're kind of jealous of because it just has all the good stuff. It's like it's just not fair. So in addition to like some of the most lush land in Africa, it has beautiful beaches, lots of history. For instance, Robben Island, home to the infamous prison that held Nelson Mandela for 18 out of 27 of his years in prison for trying to end apartheid. Robben Island was about 3,000 political prisoners, and yeah, South Africa has so much history, and so like it's almost like the New York of Africa, like or Vegas. It's something for everybody. 18 to 80, like it's on the list to visit. It's actually on our tour for next year, but we'll get to that. There are actually plenty of lit places that's left to talk about, but I wanted to give a chance for you guys to ask some questions that you might have about cannabis tourism. I know, and I can also share some of my most frequently asked questions. So please let me know in the chat if you have questions in specific, or if you want me to just throw out things there, because I'm here for you guys. I will share that. Thank you, Heather. It does sound amazing. We have a Sativas and Safari tour on our website at www.frontrowtravels.com. All of our 2023 tours, or at least hosted tours by me. I should say that. I create experiences that I can join on a limited basis. So I'm doing 4 tours next year, and they're all such unique experiences. I'm so happy to bring them to you guys. There's a cruise in February. There's a glamping experience in May, weed and wine tour in August, and in September we are heading to South Africa, where we'll have Cape Town and Johannesburg on the list, and like some of the most unique experiences. Thank you, Heather. Some of the most unique experiences.
Hi. Sorry to pop on here. I'm just so appreciative of like this entirely like amazing list that you have here of like recommendations, along with, you know, what's going on in your world with Front Row Travels next year. I want to just let everybody know that we are starting into the sessions for those who want to pop in there. And when we're done with wrapping up the main stage, we'll be bopping around in there as well. The Cannapreneur Lounge is happening, as well as Bridges Creators Conversations. So if you want to join those conversations, go ahead and head on over. But, you know, one thing I wanted to say was I didn't realize that Uruguay was an LGBTQ friendly place.
Yeah, they not snuck it in because it's been for quite, a few years now. But I think we kind of get so used to certain countries not being on board or having this type of stereotype, maybe, that you're like, I just want to kind of go where I know for sure. But yeah, and Uruguay doesn't pop up on a lot of radars because it's kind of hard to get to. It's landlocked, so it's like multiple flights and a few other things. But it's definitely, Montevideo is amazing.
Almost want to call it Uruguay.
Oh, that is so tempting. And yes, you know what? It's June, and you can absolutely.
Also, how cool that you're doing the Sativas on Safari in 2023. You know, for those who didn't know, when we were doing the chapter thing, we had a chapter in South Africa. Women in South Africa reached out to us as soon as legalization happened. So we have a whole community of women down there. It'll be so fun to like connect the dots.
I talked to her on WhatsApp, Kinta. I wanted to answer Kate real quick. She asked, do we have tours or disability inclusive? Yeah, quick answer is yes and no. What happens is a lot of times in international travel, the ADA and its rules doesn't translate to international travel. So you may not have raised sidewalks. You may still have issues with like navigating historical sites, say like the Acropolis or something that's cobblestone. So I want to say yes, but then some of the tours are hard to be inclusive.
That's really tough when we have like our own rules here in the United States, and then other countries don't have the same rules for folks who have certain disabilities. Well, we're kind of out of time here for the main stage, but I'm sure that Ayanna will be floating around here if you want to connect with her here in the event or afterwards. Front Row Travels, you can follow her on Instagram and visit her website. I'm sure you've got a newsletter too if you're interested in staying in touch.
Yes, every weekly newsletter, Facebook groups, definitely. If you sign up on the website, then you'll be able to get a hold of everything. All the feedback, a whole Facebook group to ask questions and connect with other like-minded women.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Ayanna, for being a part of this and for sharing your wisdom in the travel space. I feel so excited to know you, and I definitely like shout from the rooftops anybody who's like looking for travel, somebody who knows what the hell's going on here in the travel space. I point them to you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's support all the time. But I definitely will see you guys around in the rooms. I'm heading over there now.
Okay, see you there.